Alright, there's several things that I consider you must do before you take a road trip, but one of them high on the list is checking your tire pressure and just a visual inspection of the tire as well. Welcome to Two Camping Gurus. If you like camping and the great outdoors, you are in the right place. Make sure you stick around to the end of the video so we can show you how you can get your ebook and checklist to make sure you and your rig are ready for the road, as well as what we're talking about today, and that's testing your tire pressures before you head out. Let's get into today's video. So if you're planning on heading out on a trip, you want to make sure your tire pressure is good. And there's multiple ways you can do that. There's several tool options, and I'll show you these. I'll get a little bit closer. Hopefully you can see that. Let me just put them down. I'll show you each one at a time. So this one here I'll show you. Most people are not going to have this at home. This one is actually, while it is hooked to your fill line, your air line supply, when you press this, you're adding air to the tire, and when you release it, this gauge here will come out and give you the current reading of the pressure of the tire. And hopefully that's close enough you can see. You can see the numbers on there, 30, 40 pounds, and then the little dashes in between. So when you're pressing it, you're adding air. When you release it, it tells you where you're at. Then you have this one here. This is something I certainly would recommend you have. It's a very simple one. It's small, can fit in your toolbox. You can keep it with you. What you do is you just push this onto the valve stem, and it'll give you the reading of the tire. Now this one here doesn't stay at the reading when you release it, so you have to be able to see while you're pressing this onto the valve stem what the reading is. Now this one here is very much similar. You can see these have been used. This is very much similar to that last one. The difference is when you press this one on the tire, it'll maintain the reading until you push the release button here to drop it back down to 0. So you press this on the tire, pull it off, take a look, get your reading, and then when you're done, release the air from the system, bring it back down to 0, and check your next tire. But probably the one I most commonly use here around the house is this very simple one here. You just push this onto the tire. It'll cause this little stick basically to slide out at the appropriate, at the current pressure of the tire, and it'll tell you where you're at. And this will stay out, and when you're done, you just gently push it back in and check your next tire. So while all of these are effective ways to check your tire pressure, this is kind of bulky. I would definitely recommend one of these three to have with you. None of them take up a lot of space. This one can go right in your coat pocket or your jacket pocket if you're really regularly checking your tires. Probably not necessary, but you really, before you head on a trip, check your tire pressure. It could potentially save your life, and if nothing else, save you a lot of hassle on the road. An underinflated tire can overheat because it's flopping around. It's not really riding properly, and could explode. And an overinflated tire could do the same thing, but you're going to get excessive wear in the center of the tire and could cause an early failure of the tire. So you want the appropriate amount of pressure, and the only way to know that is to actually do a check with a calibrated tool to make sure you know what the pressure is of your tire. This is an important thing to check whether you're going on a camping trip or any long distance trip. So whether you're taking off in this camper for a trip, or maybe you're heading out on an antique to an antique rally that's quite a distance from home, and you're going to be taking something like this, these tires need to be checked as well. Maybe you're heading out on your trip in a vintage Beetle. Maybe you're just going in a standard car with a travel trailer behind you. Maybe you got a little bit bigger rig you're pulling behind, like a fifth wheel, and you're heading out in your truck, something like this. Or you're doing like Tracy and I are doing and converting a bus into an RV. It doesn't matter what you're heading out in. The bottom line is, all of these things, you need to check the tire pressure to make sure they are at the optimal pressure, to make sure you and your rig are safe and help avoid any problems on the road. So take a few minutes, pick yourself up one of these tire pressure gauges. They're inexpensive, could save you loads of hassle. Either way, thanks for stopping by Two Camping Gurus. Make sure you swing over to our website, twocampinggurus.com. And don't forget, if you haven't done so already, click on the link down in the description for that pre-trip checklist and ebook to make sure you and your rig are ready for the road. I'll also put some links down in the description for the items that I showed you today in case you want to pick up one of these. At any rate, make sure you have something. Make sure you and your rig are ready to go camping. One more thing I want to add, make sure you get the appropriate one that's good for the tires you're using. So this one here only goes to 60 pounds, so it would not work on probably most Class A, and it won't work on my bus as well. I'm going to see if I can show you how one of these works. I'm just going to be using this one right here. Let's just see. Now we're looking at the bus tire here. And this is not designed to go that high. I'll show you what it looks like if you try to put it on there. It's just going to max out, so it's not going to give you a reading at all. It's just going to go way over. So make sure you get the appropriate one for the tires that you have. The stick ones and the ones that hook to the air compressor, those would handle any of the big rigs. Alright, we're going to go ahead and check this Toyota Highlander here just so you can see how this works. So I've pushed the button. You can see the gauge is at 0. I'm just going to go ahead and push it on there. And you can see it stays. Get that glare out of there. And this tire is currently right around 40 pounds, and that's where it should be. And when I'm done, I can just push this button right here and release it back down to 0. So that's how you use this one here. And that's how you use the other one like this. Really, that's how you use all of them. You just got to put it onto the stem, get the reading. Some of them it'll remain on like this, and others you have to hold it on the thing while you're getting the reading. So I prefer one of these, but make sure you get one big enough to handle the tire pressure that you're dealing with.